In this video, I'm going to talk about the secrets of the world's greatest performers. I'm going to dive into the one activity that made the biggest impact on my bottom line results and business the last 12 years. I'm going to talk about some of the biggest productivity hacks that I've learned and what I've personally implemented that has helped me grow my business exponentially from some of the biggest interviews I've done with people worth over $100 million. So stay tuned. Welcome, this is Peter Voogd, and I'm excited to dive into this episode of the YEL 2.0 podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you. If you're listening while you're driving, thank you. As always, I'm going to keep it short, simple, but I'm going to dive into the next chapter of 6 months to six figures. And this is called the peak performance secrets of the world's greatest, chapter 10. Now, if you're just joining, we're breaking down this best-selling book, 6 months to six figures, and we're breaking down each chapter. If you haven't watched the other ones, you can go to the playlist and listen to the other ones where we dive into other chapters on how to gain absolute clarity, how to increase your confidence account, how to build $1 million network. But here's why I threw this in this book. Because I could give you all the tactics in the world. If you don't have a foundation of productivity, if you don't understand how to actually get things done, how to take action, how to execute despite whether you feel like it or not, none of this stuff will matter. And you'll be like most entrepreneurs who know so much information but don't have any results. Your job as an entrepreneur, as a CEO, as a business owner, whatever business you're in, is to produce results, whether you feel like it or not, whether you're there or not, whether you're sick or not, whether you're in a good mood or not. That's the purpose of business, is to produce results regardless. So I wanted to put these peak performance secrets in, and of course, I'm going to go through, there's 10 peak performance secrets that are tactics you can use right away and see results. I'm going to go through 5 of them and go through an activity that really changed the game for me. Okay? Julius Erving, who's one of the Hall of Fame NBA players, he said, "I demand more from myself than anybody else could expect from me." So before I really dive in, I want you to understand what makes an elite performer isn't how they show up when everything is going well. It's the way they deliver when the plans are falling apart, when they're not in the mood, and understanding that productivity is not about luck. Okay, productivity is about a very specific set of tactics and understanding how you operate and how to get the best from yourself. So I put this in here once again because with all the information I give you, if you don't know how to spark your own fire and you don't know how to take action, none of it's going to matter, okay? And the reality is most things don't matter. I dive into realizing that most things make no difference in your business and they're not moving your business forward. One of the biggest things that I've realized is you're either doing things in your business that produce growth or you're doing things in your business just to maintain. And if you write down, here's a simple activity before I dive in. If you just write down everything you're doing in your business that's just maintaining, and then you write down everything you're doing that's producing growth, and understand that everything that maintains should be delegated, deleted, or leveraged. You should only be doing things that produce big growth in your business. So think about what activities you need to stop doing or delegate right now so you can focus on growth in your business. This is called the list to freedom. And I cannot tell you how much of an impact it's made on my business. So when I was head deep, I was overwhelmed. I was working 80 hours a week. I was trying to build my sales team and my brand on the side. I wrote down 3 things, and this changed the business. So I'm going to have you guys do the same thing. First, I wrote down what I don't like doing. I wrote down the things I can't do or couldn't do at the moment. And then I wrote down things I shouldn't be doing. So figure out the things you don't like doing and either delegate, delete, or pay someone to do those. Things that you can't do, find other people who are best at what you can't do. Everybody has specific strengths, and one of the biggest keys to building a thriving business is to find people that love and are obsessed with things that you aren't good at. And then 3 is doing things that you shouldn't be doing things in your business that, like I said, are not producing big growth. Is your time worth a certain amount an hour? You shouldn't be doing anything less than that. So if your time is worth $100 an hour, why are you doing things that are worth $30 an hour? So it's important to break down your time, right? And doing something unimportant well doesn't make it any more important. So I also dive into understanding what's important, what drives real results, and what things spin your wheels. It blows my mind the amount of entrepreneurs that I work with and mentor and I've talked to that they're working 50, 60, 70 hours a week, but 95% of what they're working on doesn't produce results and it doesn't bring in revenue. It's mind-boggling. That's why mentorship is so important, to have someone that can anticipate what you're going through and tell you how to handle it and cut your learning curve in half, right? So the 5 game-changing strategies I'm going to go through, and you can read the other 5 in my book. It's on Amazon. It's on Audible. It's everywhere. You can go to sixfiguresbook.com. Let me know what you think of it, by the way, what your favorite chapter is, what you learned. I appreciate everyone that's checked this out. But I just want to spread awareness about not just how to make 6 figures in 6 months, but how to have the best 6 months you've ever had. So the first thing that I learned is refusing interference and understanding what's going to kill your momentum or what has killed your momentum in the past. So the same things usually have killed your momentum consistently. When you have success and you have momentum, you're doing well, something gets in the way of that and you have to keep restarting. What is that? So thinking about in the past, what's killed your momentum, and then fighting that distraction and putting something in place where you're interrupting your interruptions. If you don't have a plan to interrupt your interruptions, your plans will always be interrupted, right? So I fight distraction in my own life, and I teach people as well to do the same, but everyone's fighting for your focus, and too many people right now are stealing your attention. So don't be so generous giving it to them. The word that will change your life is no. Saying no to things that don't align with your vision is a huge, huge key. So protect your focus at the highest level and write down your top 5 distractions and then create a prevention plan to get rid of those. So if one of your distractions is your cell phone, remove all the notifications off your phone. Any notification you have, remove it. My phone's always on silent. I never answer my phone if I don't know the number. They can leave a voicemail if it's important. If I'm writing in my book or I'm trying to create content and I want no distractions, I go somewhere that is quiet. I don't have internet on my computer and I get to work, because one of the things is getting in the zone. But let me tell you this, you have to make a promise to yourself that you're not going to open your journal. You're not going to open your laptop till you know exactly what you're doing, right? So one of my favorite hacks is getting in the zone. It takes 3 times. We're addicted to distractions, and it takes you're 3 times more productive and more aware and more alert and more resourceful when you're in the zone. And it takes 20 minutes to get in the zone, 17 to 23 minutes to get in the zone. So what happens is most people, before they get in the zone, they're distracted again. So most people never work at their optimal. So I challenge you to get in the zone. That's when you're most creative, most resourceful, most effective. So when you work straight for 20 minutes with no distractions and zero interruptions, you start to have flow, it's what it's called. So you work in flow, and then you're 3 times more effective and efficient. But before the 20 minutes is up, most people get distracted by something and they're never working at their optimal state. If you're going to put out content, if you're going to create videos, if you're going to work with people and be a leader, you don't want anything but your best work. Like Kobe Bryant used to say, I always played my best every night. I never knew who was seeing me for the first time. So for you, I want to make sure all my work, my podcasts, my books, my mixtapes, my speeches are my best work, because I'm in the zone and there's no distractions. So stay in the zone, work in the zone. Next is selling yourself. Another way to get in the zone is refuse distractions, stay focused, and don't let anything interrupt you. But 3 is selling yourself on what you're doing and not taking on too much, right? So sell yourself on what you're doing and make sure that if you're not fully sold, if there's 5% doubt that it's not the best thing for you, you're going to take that and you'll be distracted. And when you're distracted, when you're overwhelmed, you seek distractions. And when you're distracted, you're going to validate and convince yourself that you shouldn't be focused. And you come up with some pretty creative reasons, right? But make sure that you sell yourself on why you're doing. So before I open up my laptop, I sell myself on what tasks. I usually do my toughest tasks first, my profit-producing tasks first. whatever I'm focused on that is the project at hand, I always sell myself before I take anything on. If someone asks me to do something, if there's a partnership, we have a partnership we're working on with Uber. It might be closed by the time you get this, but I mean, that's going to be an amazing partnership. But when they give me all the details, I have to make sure I go through everything, and I have to measure my values, measure my priorities, what my goals are. One of my highest goals is flexibility and freedom and peace of mind and family. So if it takes time away from my family and a lot of peace of mind, it's not even worth if they pay me 10, 20, 30 grand, right? So you got to have your values intact. And then once you're fully sold on it, you can go all in on that project, right? That's a huge one. So refusing interference, killing procrastination. Another thing is make a stop doing list. Okay. Stop living week by week. A stop doing list is sometimes more important than a to-do list. So people that have world-class levels of productivity, right? They record what they should stop doing. Steve Jobs used to say what made Apple Apple and what made Apple so successful is not so much what they chose to build, but all the projects they chose to ignore. So I would challenge you right now, make a stop doing list. Like, what do you need to stop doing? If you want to take it a step further, make a stop doing list, make a start doing list, and make a continue list. What are you continuing to do that you've already proud of, that you know is helping your business and helping your life and your happiness and your results? Keep doing that. What do you need to stop doing to where if you don't stop doing this and you fast forward a year or two, it really could mess up certain things in your life? The person that has a lot of things negative happen, usually they're not thinking about the consequences in the moment, and they're addicted to instant pleasure versus delayed success and delayed fulfillment, right? So thinking about that, like what should you stop doing that you know is going to cost you in the long run? And then third is, what are you going to start doing that you know is going to serve you well as an entrepreneur and as a human being, right? There's a 5 more in the actual book that you can go through. But I challenge people to really examine your life and start incorporating these principles into your daily routine. And if applied, this is going to transform your productivity, your performance, your lifestyle, your happiness. And remember, it's not what you know, it's what you do with what you know as well, okay? So, this book was very purposely and intentionally put together. And it was a headache, by the way. It took me a long time to put everything together and make sure I was proud of it and it gave people real results. But the next chapter I'm going to dive in. So make sure you're subscribed to my YouTube and make sure you're subscribed to the podcast. The links are below. The last chapter we talked about was consistent energy and inner drive, how to create an energy explosion in your life. This time it's peak performance habits. But next time, one of my favorite chapters for bottom line results, it is called Creating the Perfect Result Rituals. The amount of stress you have in your life is a direct correlation to the lack of rituals you have in place. So that's going to be coming in the next couple weeks. I'm excited for that. But the bottom line is understanding productivity is not just about getting more done. It's about doing things that are going to move you closer to meaningful goals that you've defined as important to you. And productivity is not so much about just doing. It's being strategic and intentional and purposeful with every move that you make, right? So understand that peak performance is more than just getting results. It's having a value and principle-based life and understanding that when you measure everything against your values, you'll be more fulfilled and happier, right? So keep that in mind. Post below what you've done and maybe one of your biggest productivity or peak performance hacks. What's something you've done in the past that's helped your performance? I'd love to get some banter going and get some comments going below. I'll be in the comment section. Thanks once again for subscribing. I look forward to continuing to give value. If you haven't watched the Energy Explosion, if you haven't watched the Absolute Clarity or the Money Matters, I would strongly recommend watching that as I dive through some of the other chapters in the book. And thanks again. We'll talk to you guys soon. See ya.